Welcome back to the Drone MBA podcast. My name is Dr. Heather Monthi. I am your host for this podcast where we talk all about the business of drones. And in today's episode, what I want to do is talk about how to kickstart your drone business before your business actually takes off. So this is really going to be relevant for those of you who are considering starting a drone business, or maybe you've just gotten either your Part 107 or whatever commercial pilot certifications required in your country. Maybe you just got it. Maybe you don't even have a drone yet. Maybe you do have a drone and you're trying to figure out how do you start a business around it. This is really going to be very helpful for those of you in sort of those early stages of getting your drone business up and running. So what I wanted to do today is share with you a couple of tips, some strategies, some ideas, some of the things that I did, some of the things that I would recommend doing, knowing the things that I know now, and then maybe even sharing some of the things that I did to start my first aviation business over 20 years ago. So let's talk about some ways that we can market and create excitement for your drone business before it's fully operational. So the first thing is to lay the foundation, okay? And what I mean by that is get yourself in the mindset of, I have a drone business. I have a insert in the blank business. I have a drone photography business. I have a drone aerial mapping and surveying business. I have this. It's very active. It's right now, okay? Although on the back end, you might have some things that you need to get done. You might need to file paperwork and take tests and, make some purchases. That's all well and good. What you don't want to do is start telling everybody under the sun, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to start this drone business. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to add drone services to my existing businesses. You're talking sort of in this future tense. And what that does, and there's a term for it. I don't know what it is. I'm not a psychologist, but there is a term for this. When you're continually talking about the things you're going to do, your brain sort of gets that same feeling of accomplishment that you actually did it. So I think there's even some research out there that shows, like, if you watch YouTube videos on, workout routines, you watch it on Instagram, that kind of thing, your brain sort of gets that same level of reinforcement that you actually did the workout, even though you didn't do the workout. So the same thing applies here, that if you're consistently talking about, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, your brain sort of gets this signal of that you've already accomplished it, and you probably won't get it done. So what you want to do is really just have this mindset of, I'm doing this. Okay, I'm doing this right now. This is who I am. This is what I have. I might be in a different phase than I would like to be, but this is where I'm at. Okay. So part of this is when you're talking about your drone business with other people, saying, yeah, I have a drone business and these are the services that I offer. Okay. And although you might not have everything in place just yet, it's totally okay. All right. So, but what you want to do is start doing some of that very early marketing and really getting some excitement around what it is that you're going to be offering. So let's say you're already a photographer and you're going to be adding in, aerial videography and photography for weddings or real estate or whatever photography services niche you serve. You can start drumming up some excitement about it by doing some marketing around that. Okay. So what you can do is you can create an opt-in offer to create an email list for your business. So what you could say you're going to offer, drone aerial photography, right? You don't have your Part 107 yet or your remote pilot certification in your particular country. You might not even have a drone yet. You might not even know how to fly a drone yet. What you can do is you can create an opt-in page on a website, and what it is it's a wait list. And you say, these services are coming soon. Enter your name and email address to be among the first notified when these services are ready and available. And you can start collecting a list of people who are interested in your product. It doesn't mean that they're all going to buy from you, but they're all people that are interested right now and that they want to know when you launch your services. Okay. So that's the first thing you can do, is really create this enticing opt-in offer and start collecting those email addresses. Then what you can do is you can start creating some engaging social media content. So you can start educating your audience about your particular service or product that you're going to be offering. So again, going back to photography, you can, share some examples of maybe some work that other people have done, or, how this can really enhance the your wedding album, things like that. So when you're looking at social media content, you can look at things from two different perspectives, is that they can either be educational or they can be entertaining. So they capture that attention, they're entertaining. Maybe part of your brand is sharing memes. I know I do share a lot of memes myself, especially my personal social media accounts, but really start to create that social media content that's either educational for your target audience or entertaining. So if your target audience is going to be brides, you're probably not going to do some educational content on how to do aerial photography, right? But it's really going to be more on, how does this add something special to your day for years to come? You'll have memories for years to come, things like that. So really think about who your ideal client is, and then start creating educational and entertaining social media posts for that particular audience. And then you can also start sending out regular email newsletters. Even though you don't have anything to sell just yet, you can put things in there that are, helping them to learn and to educate your audience more. You might be able to share other products that might be relevant to them, especially say you're talking about, your audience's brides or people who are planning weddings. Maybe there's some other sort of wedding planning service that you can talk about, share a link to in an email newsletter, things like that. So there's a ton of stuff that you can do with that email newsletter and keep those people engaged. And then when you're building out your social media profiles and building out your landing page, you can make it an enticing offer. Make it something that's like, yeah, this looks really cool. This is something that I think I'm going to be interested in whenever this person is ready. And I also do think you should, be forefront and say, this is a wait list. We're hoping to launch in spring of 2024, whatever it may be. Just be honest about where you are with that. And then, as you are starting to drum up some excitement around your business, you might be posting some social media content. You're gathering those email lists or email addresses to build your email list. On the back end of things that people aren't seeing is you're doing things like getting your Part 107. If you're not intending to do the flying yourself, you're finding other people who have the required certifications, they have the required equipment, they have the necessary drones and the cameras and all of the software that goes with that, so that you can outsource to them. You don't necessarily have to be the one doing the flying. This is your business. You don't have to be the one doing everything. Okay. So on the back end, either you yourself are getting yourself prepared to, become the remote pilot / photographer, or you're working on the back end to find additional people in your area that can do the photography for you. Okay. So you're working on all those things behind the scenes. All right. So when you are thinking about starting up your drone business, and I don't know when you're listening to this, but today it's right before Thanksgiving, 2023, American Thanksgiving, 2023. We're getting into the time of year where a lot of you are probably going to get drones for Christmas, for the holidays. You're going to get new software. You're going to get an upgrade. You're going to get something that you're going to look at this and go, I wonder how I can start a business around this. You can. I think the first thing that you should start doing is create that landing page, create social media accounts, and start posting, start sharing, start drumming up interest, collecting those email addresses. One thing I did is when I started my drone business, so I started my drone business in 2019, what I did is I started a Facebook group, and it was a very targeted Facebook group, and it's still running. It's separate from the Facebook group for this podcast, but it's a very specific niche within the drone industry, and it's applicable across the world. I have people from 6 continents in there. I need to figure out how to get somebody from Antarctica in there. But I've got people from all six continents, 17 different countries, and it's a very specific niche within the drone industry, right? And the idea there is that the people that are working in this area, they can collaborate, share ideas, and really start to form a community around that particular niche, okay? I wasn't collecting email addresses. I didn't even have a social media profile up until maybe like 2 weeks ago. I've really done a lot with the Facebook group. And then from there, you get people into your email list where you can have really more targeted and conversations with them, one-on-one conversations with them. But that's what I did to get started. Way back in the day when I started my very first aviation business, this was about 1999 or so, and this is back before remotely piloted aircraft were affordable and were really a thing that just anybody could go buy. People would hire me as an aircraft pilot. They would hire me to go do aerial photography. I would not do the photography. I would fly the airplane, and then they would take pictures. Some things turned out okay, some things did not. Oftentimes people showed up with autofocus cameras, and the cameras would actually focus on the windows of the airplane. It's a big to-do to take the windows off the airplane, take the doors off the airplanes, but that's what a lot of people did. So in order to start drumming up that kind of business, when I got my commercial pilot's license, I did the same thing. This is really before we kind of were doing email lists, like opt-in pages and landing pages and all that kind of stuff. But I started collecting information, contact information in a spreadsheet. I collected phone numbers, I collected email addresses for the people that had them. And then I would actually send out in the mail, in the U.S. postal mail, I would send out postcards and letters to people saying, hey, I'm offering this service, please tell your friends. And other things I would do too is things like discovery flights. So, those always make great gifts. And so I would just share that with my, with the list of people that I have contacts of and say like, hey, this is a great idea for a Christmas gift. If somebody is trying to figure out a Christmas gift for you, maybe they want to buy a gift certificate or something like this, right? Or maybe you want to buy a gift certificate for somebody in your life that's really hard to buy for. And so I would, drum up a lot of business that way. And so this is, like I said, this is late 90s, really sort of an early rudimentary way, but I just started collecting names and contact information in a spreadsheet and just stayed in touch with people and just let them know like, hey, we're doing this, let me know how I can help. So anyways, if you're thinking about getting started with a drone business, you're in the very, very, very early stages of it. The one thing I do suggest is create a landing page and start collecting email addresses. I do recommend certain types of software. You can use some of the free stuff that's out there. MailChimp is free up until a certain number of subscribers. I think ConvertKit is the same way. I do use one called High Level, which it does absolutely everything for me. And so you can just get out there. Like I said, if you've got less than 1,000 people, you can easily get started with something like MailChimp. Create that landing page and just start sharing it, collecting those email addresses. So, all right. Thank you guys. Thanks for joining me in today's episode of the Drone MBA podcast. I'm so excited about this. I can't believe the momentum that we got. I just released the first episode of this last week. I have a couple episodes previously, on airspace and that from 2020. But we got a lot of momentum going here in just 1 week with this podcast. So I'm excited to be here. And tune in next week. I'll talk to y'all then.